call it old school. You know, back in the day when people were getting married, they said they married for life. Okay? So, to death do us part. Mm-hmm. And they will not take their ring off. So what do you think about that? You know, like my mom, it didn't matter. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Their significant other, their husband, their spouse is gone. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But they say they're married for life and they're not going to take their ring off.
And that's old school.
Yeah.
Because they got married young and they lost their spouses. A lot of them that are old school, they lost their spouses when they were older.
Right.
70s,
Yes.
like late 60s,
Yes.
70s, 80s, not to offend anyone. And they had been married for like 50 years.
Right.
So I could see that they were like, you know, Nana and I'm not taking that ring off because that's they're used to it. But a lot of people, the older generation, they didn't really have rings. They had another symbol. You know, they may have had a band.
Yeah, I'm gonna say most of them had.
But some of them, like when I think about my grandparents, I don't remember them having rings.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
So, but I do understand, and there's an episode of This Is Us. I don't know if you watch This Is Us. I'm not plugging the show, but it touched on her losing her husband early.
Okay.
And it's a scene with the actress. And Felicia Rashad appears because she's Beth's mother.
Okay.
And they have this exchange, and they're both wearing their rings. So both are widows, and they're wearing their rings. And Felicia Rashad said, "I see that you haven't taken your ring off." And she responds, "No." And she said, when do we take, when is it okay for us to take them off?
Okay.
And they both laughed and they were like, never, you know, and they laughed. But then
That's serious.
That's serious. But then the actress gets married to her deceased husband's best friend. All right. We ain't judging. We're not judging.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But eventually she took it off. Because she had to replace it with another ring, right? So, but when I heard that, I was like, wow. They said never.
Yeah, some people do that. They will wear their ring forever.
Right. But if someone else comes along, how are they going to feel about that?
Right. That goes back to
you're going to exchange that ring. So, you know, but I think in the moment, they were in the moment. And to them, never. But again, like we were saying, when you're ready, and if it changes, then it changed. Then it just changes, right?
Right.
When you're ready, you know, you're getting all choked up about this.
I know,
because
you hear me.
It's a lot to unpack. Because that could change over time.
Yes.
So you may feel like, okay, I'm never going to take it off. And I felt like that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do that. I said that about a lot of things.
Okay.
And, you know.
And it changes.
And
yeah.
it
Like I said, because that was my first thing too, with my ring. I was like, girl, I ain't taking this ring. I ain't finna be bothered. This was my husband. My husband was good. I loved my husband.
Right.
And
right.
it, you know, all of that. So I kept it on.
Right. So you are, but you're at a good place.
Right. I mean,
you're at a good place.
Right. And that's the thing. You have to shift your mind.
You have to shift your mind.
You have to shift your mind. And I think once you shift your mind, that you will be able to decide on what's best for you for as wearing the ring and taking the ring off. Yeah.
I agree.
But I wanted to ask you one more thing. Do you think wearing your ring was a form of encouragement for you?
How so? Can you?
Like,
I'm making sure I answer your questions correctly now.
it was like to let you know, for me, wearing my ring was a form of encouraging to remind me that I wasn't alone.
Ooh.
That I could do this. That it's going to be okay.
You mean post-death? Post-death, your ring was a form of encouragement?
Yes.
That is so true.
So for me to take it off, think about it. now I wouldn't have that. So, what do you think?
Wow.
Because it reminded me, you can do this, and look what y'all done. Girl, y'all done made it. Y'all done been married 20-some years, and you know. Your ring, and when you look down at to me, when you look at your ring means a lot. It can mean a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, my ring meant a lot. It meant my husband sacrificed. It meant my husband loved. That meant my husband was securing who he was. He was securing our relationship. It meant that we was committed. We did this. My husband wasn't a cheater. My husband, I wasn't a cheater. We were committed to each other. Things that some people don't go through.
Long term.
Or some people don't have it.
In the long term. Yes. And in whatever struggles you may have had throughout your marriage. And because that's what those vows are.
Right.
We're talking about the wedding ring. We're talking about the vows.
Right.
That's associated with it. When you exchange, it's the for better, for worse, sickness and in health.
Right.
Until death do us part. And so a lot of people go through
all of those vows.
The rich and poor. And so when you look at that ring, because you both are still wearing it, it means we made it.
Right.
We are true to these vows.
Right.
And I can see how you would see it as
an encouragement.
As the encouragement. I thought you meant after the loss, you look back and you see that ring and it encourages you to still move forward.
Both. Think about it. Both. It can. And it did. If I really think about it, it did.
Right.
It did. It did help me to remember what he would say. The little things he would say to encourage me.
Yeah.
And it just remind me, you got it. Go ahead, girl. You can do this.
Right.
You can do this.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I see that it did during when he, prior to his death, I did look at my ring, or just overall the marriage, and was encouraged because my marriage lasted longer than my parents.
Okay.
And my grandparents.
Okay.
So to me, that was a great accomplishment. And then, statistically, the divorce rate is high, and it's high in churches and, with Christians. And so it was like an encouragement that, wow, I accomplished this. We accomplished this together. We sacrificed all of the different things, various things that we may have, struggled with or gone through. We made it.
Right.
And even afterwards, whether it's the ring or pictures or letters, we dated during the time that you didn't have cell phones and text messages and emails. So I have tons of letters that we had written to one another, and him being in Germany, and we're exchanging letters internationally.
Okay.
So I have a lot of those letters that I look back at as those encouragement.
Okay.
Like for encouragement, I would get flowers, for my birthday or anniversary or just because.
Okay.
And it was always a beautiful message. So I keep those in different places throughout my room in my office for the encouragement. So yes, the ring did post death still give me that encouragement and that reminder, but I had to realize I have so many other things that I can use instead of the ring.
And that's funny that you said that, because my husband, I have so many cards. And that was one of the things that I did right after he passed. I had cards that he had wrote in different parts of my room that I would read, and that would help me move through the day, move out the day. So when you were saying the cards, and another thing that you said that I thought was funny too, is because we did letters and he was right here with me. It was because I wanted a love letter. And so we wrote with twice. Once before we got married, and one was after we got married. And we did love letters to each other. And I still have them. And that is so funny. When you was talking about the letters, I can definitely understand
So that can replace that
it
ring.
can replace the
right?
rings,
It can
yeah.
replace that security and that I guess the not the security, but
The encouragement.
The encouragement, right? So yeah. So I definitely. I mean, this has been a really, really good topic, a good discussion, Stephanie. I always find encouragement. I always find comfort in our conversations. These are conversations that you and I have, but we go a little deeper when we talk about it on air. And I hope that other people who are listening are encouraged and you found something, whether you're a widow, widower, or just a friend of one, that you find encouragement through this conversation as well. Please share it. Please subscribe to our various channels, Widow's Peak Next Chapter on Facebook and Instagram, Facebook 101 on Twitter. We also have a YouTube channel, and we can be found on every podcast.
Yes.
We're so excited about that. We're so excited about that. Let me play with my board. We are so excited that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio.
Yes.
Wherever you find your podcast, you will find Widow's Peak.
Widow's Peak.
So thank you for listening. Stay encouraged.
Know that if you want to wear your ring, wear it. Know if you want to take it off, take it off. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to Widow's Peak. For extended conversation, head over to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to get alerts and sneak peeks on upcoming topics. Don't forget to like and share this podcast with your family and friends. Until next time, life is precious, and so are you.